Hi, and welcome to the tutorial on how to create your classes in the new Activio system. Firstly, of course, you go to the webpage my.activiofitness.com, on which you'll see the screen in front of you. You'll have three options: login, register, and migrate. And in this case, I assume that you already have a profile. If that's not the case, you simply select the middle option, register, or watch the tutorial on how to actually create your Activio profile. But for now, let's log in. Entering your username and password will bring you to the front screen, and on the left-hand side of the screen, you will see four different menu items. What we will be covering is the class profile section, where you can create your heart rate-based classes or your power-based classes. Clicking class profiles will bring up your active library, and in this case you'll see that I have classes already. But for now, we're going to look into the function on the right side of the screen called Add New Class Profile. So I'm going to click here, and this gives me the blank template. In the class designer, you can choose between heart rate or power for your profile. And just note that once you start creating, and if you decide to change, the system will tell you that if you decide to change from heart rate to power, the items, so the lines, the graph that you already did, sadly will be erased. So make sure you select this item properly in the beginning. You can give your class a name. I'm going to call this one Activio Test, and you can elaborate further, testing the class designer. To the right side, you'll see the timer of the class, which will adapt to the number of items, blocks, or intervals you enter. And below it, you'll have the overview of the class that will show the graph as you move on. When you click Add Block, now you enter the edit mode, and you can call which block whatever you want. Block 1 could normally be a warm-up, and in the box right now, you'll see that I only have one line of points to enter, but I can easily simply click Add Plus. So in this case, I'm going to put in a title. It could be rolling warm-up. It could be the title of the song that you're using. That one is up to you. And for the warm-up, in this case, I imagine a 10-minute warm-up. And the rolling warm-up for me is just to get people set up on the bike, tell them what's ahead, and just make sure that I connect with the group. So maybe I give that a time frame of 3 minutes. I'm going to begin the class heart rate at 50% of their heart rate max, which would be somewhere in the ballpark when they sit on the bike or other cardio equipment, and start. And within 3 minutes, maybe I want them to go to 60. This is not intended to be intense. It's simply get people moving. The line here that says coach note is text or information that you can type in here that will also show when you run the class on the projector or on the TV screen. So you'll see here the information says visible for class. So you can choose to use this as a heads up, or remember to drink water, roll your shoulders, any kind of information you find relevant. For now, I'm just going to say smile and have a good time. And perhaps we enter a smiley. Then for the next part of the warm-up, I'm going to click Add. Now we're going to get a little bit more warm. So maybe it is light intervals. And maybe I made them 20 seconds work and 40 seconds rolling. So for me, that's W for work, R for rolling. So in this case, I'm gonna put in 20 seconds. And I'm gonna say we move from 60 to 65, for instance, in the 20 seconds. I'm gonna add one more line, which is the 40 seconds. The title, I don't enter anything because it's the connection to the interval above. And perhaps they move from 65 and they drop down a little bit again. In this case, we're just gonna make it super simple. They'll drop back to 60. So now I have one interval. In the case I want multiple intervals, what I do is I'm gonna make sure that the interval itself is split from the rolling warm-up. You'll see a big box in the middle saying split. So now I cut part of the warm-up out here. So I have a warm-up split. And this interval I imagine perhaps doing 5 times. So I can say copy. And just below it now, you'll have a warm-up split copy. I can copy, that's 3. I can copy, that's 4. And I can copy, that's 5. And you can always follow along up here in the graph to see what is going on. If I want to, I can merge them together, but it doesn't have a big effect. So for me, I'm just gonna leave it. Now we're on 8 minutes, and perhaps I want the final 2 minutes is gonna be preparation for block 1. And perhaps in the coach note that my participants will see, I write in the information, block 1, hill climbs. And you could elaborate further. But for now, or we say it's 4 hills of 3 minutes. The preparation, I'm gonna make 2 minutes and will stay around 60% all throughout. So far so good. Now I have my warm-up in place. I'm gonna add the next block. Block 7 it will say because of the all intervals, but I'm just gonna rename that one to block or hill climb. There we go. I can, in this case, I plan to do 4 intervals of hill on a 3-minute climb, and perhaps I go just 1 block for it. So I'm gonna say 4 times 3 minutes climb. This is notes for myself when I watch the PDF or watch the system afterwards to remember what is going on. I may get a total of 12 minutes. So this time I'm not making it specific to every climb, but I could also do as I did with the intervals in the warm-up. For now, 4 minutes of climbing. We're gonna begin at 60% and we're gonna end up in 80. So now I've told my participants that in the beginning, I want them to start around the beginning of the blue zone, and they'll move up gradually throughout 4 hill climbs towards bottom of the yellow zone, so 80%. Next block, I'm gonna add in, I'm gonna say this is intervals, and it's acceleration, accel. I'm gonna do 4 times 30 work and 30 rest. This time around, I'm gonna make it very specific just to show you another example. So again, it's 30 seconds. It will begin at 60%, assuming that people have had time to recover. Or I say, okay, we're going to begin at the top of the hill already now. I'm not going to give them a pause. Later on in this video, I'll show you what is going on if you entered in something and you want to add a pause in between two lines of items. So 80%, we're going to finish up at around 86. I'm going to add a line and say this is the 30 recovery. And in the 30 recovery, 30 seconds, we will be going from 86 back to 80. It could be that you feel, okay, it would begin at 80, go to 86, but in 30 seconds, perhaps you only drop to 82, you go higher. That's entirely up to you, how much of recovery you want to give your participants, the load on the bike, how much you focus on breathing. And again, all of this can be edited when you've run the class the first time. So right now, we're just in the ballpark. I have now 2 lines of code, my interval, but as you see, the interval is connected to the hill climb. So what are we going to do? We will make sure that we actually split it. I'm going to add a line here, and I can split. And the first line of the hill climb is the one that I added. I could now transform that for a recovery for 2 minutes. In this case, this is imaginary, but it could be the case that I want to give my participants a little bit of recovery. Or I say, hey, I don't want a recovery. I'm just going to remove that chunk of the class. So now again, I'm back to going straight from the final hill climb into accelerations or intervals. I wanted that one to be copied. So now, copy, we have acceleration copy, 30-30. I'm going to make one more, and I'm going to make one more. There we go. So at the top of the screen, you'll have your intervals. You have 30 seconds going up, 30 seconds going down. And if I roll all the way to the top of the screen, I will see that the current class is 26 minutes. And I think in this test class or in this video, we'll make it a 30-minute class, meaning now I have 4 minutes left on the class schedule or the timetable in the studio. So I'm going to add in a recovery and a cool down. So I'm going to add in the block. We're going to say cool down and stretch. So it's a short lunchtime class perhaps, or a HIIT class, an early morning class. Cool down and stretch. Let's say 2 minutes where we go from 80 to 65. And we're going to make, that was the cool down. And we're going to make the stretch 2 minutes as well. That one will probably get us from 65 back to 50. And perhaps I tell them I'm going to be like a positive motivation coach. You did an amazing job. There you go. Again, this will show on the screen. Now I have my 30-minute class. So that way I'm going to click save, and that's going to put my class in my entire library. If I want to find it, we called it test. So I'm going to enter in test, click search, and there we have it. Activio test on the top, testing the class designer, 30-minute total. I can click on the three dots to the right hand side. I can view the class. I can go in and edit. In this case, I'm just going to view it. I have an overview here, the template in front of me. I could print this out if I want to, but the class will also be visible in your profile in the Activio app on your Android or iPhone. There you have it. I hope this gave you a little bit of insight to how this works. Again, this was a tutorial in a heart rate class. It could just as easily have been power. The only thing that would be different is the zones. Since you're working with FTP or watts, you would be having zones that went all the way up to a potential 200%. Entirely up to what kind of bike and what kind of interval class you want to be running. So have fun, good luck, and go create some healthy habits in a lot of people.